My straw go.
Pre-post show. Go.
Dude,
Paul entertain the people.
The mystery of Paul's
Dude,
straw.
look at this. My straw fucking disappeared.
I didn't do it.
After we stopped filming our last piece of content, I got up and my straw just went, like, look at it.
You went one place, your straw went the other.
I got no straw anymore. Like, Scotty's on the fucking case.
Dude, that's my mind. My mom wants to know what happened to
Scotty's mind is blown.
I'm telling you, dude.
straw, dude.
I didn't pull my own straw out and throw it away. You know what I mean? But I shit you not. Here,
TJ fucking did it, dude.
I think Greta Thunberg showed up here and was like, no plastic straws.
you cannot have this straw.
She's like,
He's
no.
British now?
I should be in school. Instead, I'm here stealing your straws. How dare you?
I'm the Time Person of the Year. You have to listen to me.
How dare you?
Have you ever seen Time Magazine? Have you seen it at your local, what do you people buy these things? Books?
You've ruined my childhood with your straw. Take back that straw.
I mean, didn't you kind of, though? You kind of
I guess so. I mean, I'm definitely from the generation that's most to blame for ruining Greta Thunberg's life, so.
I'm pretty sure I heard Paul extol the values of styrofoam before.
That's true of every, generation. They're all, we hated the fucking boomers, too, back in Gen X. We just didn't call them that, you know what I mean? We didn't identify them as such, but in the Gen X / early millennial days, dude, we hated the boomers every bit as much as they hate the boomers now.
Did I remember, TJ, there's one time with Paul, and we're sitting around, and Paul's like, nothing keeps a fucking drink colder than styrofoam.
It's true.
He's like, man, look, I know these plastic cups, all this shit in the environment, whatever. These paper cups, they're the worst.
Well, you guys got to understand, I grew up in fucking California where, maybe there was 5 or 10 years of my life very early on where styrofoam was okay, but it's banned in California since I was little. So
Yeah.
I'd never gotten to experience the fucking joys of a styrofoam cup.
The great thing about a styrofoam cup, dude, is
it's never cold to the touch.
right, and it doesn't get cold on the outside, but the drink inside is cold, and
It's great.
you come back 2 hours later, and the ice is barely melted.
Dude, I will I'll order a fucking, styrofoam drink or some shit. The place I get them the most is at Sonic.
Yeah.
You get their fucking slushies and shit. And I'll drink a little bit of the slushie and set it down somewhere in the house and forget I had it. And then I'll find it later, and I instantly feel this sinking oh, man, I let my slushie get bad. And then I pick it up, and I'm like, I'm just going to try it. And it's still fucking like snow in there. It's like, how did... I'm just saying, some things have to hang around even if they destroy the environment.
Styrofoam.
Damn, dude.
yeah.
Styrofoam is not to blame for our fucking current woes. Okay?
I think it's pretty bad, though, don't you think?
I mean, it's bad, but
it's not,
it ain't...
it's not biodegradable at all, Paul. Fuck,
It's
man.
bad, but it's
But it keeps Paul's one-time
Yeah.
drink cold.
I mean, as far as deals with the devil go, styrofoam is not a bad deal.
that's a deal you're willing to make.
I mean,
Yeah,
I got to
you know.
tell you, man, cars... Yeah, I mean, if the styrofoam had a little engine on it that was belching carbon monoxide up into the fucking thing as you drink...
Maybe you'd go, hey.
Okay, but it's just a cup, you know what I mean? And I'd be fine with reusing my styrofoam, too. If I could go to fucking Sonic, drink my slushie, and then just bring them the empty one and they rinse it out with some disinfectant and make I'd do that. Everybody gets a lifetime allotment of 10 styrofoam cups.
Styrofoam's not meant to last, though.
I mean,
it's really not.
If you're rough with it, but that's true of a lot of this shit. If I was rough with this, I wouldn't still have it. If you just
I think the
drink
phone's-
out of your cup and
the
then put it
phone's well
somewhere safe.
engineered.
Dude, I thought the problem with styrofoam was that it was meant to last too long.
Well, it lasts too long in the environment.
If you're smart with your styrofoam, you'll have the same fucking cup for 10 years.
There's no fucking way, dude.
All right, next
Paul,
styrofoam
Paul,
cup
I don't believe your ass can keep a styrofoam cup for more than a week.
I tell you what, next styrofoam cup I get,
All right.
I'm going to bring it over here, and I will fill it up and drink out of it exclusively for as long as it lasts, and we'll see.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. I'll engage you on that one, Scotty. I'm going to get a big-ass Sonic
We'll see, dude.
slushy
So I'm
cup,
telling you right now, that
and you're
thing,
going to see me sipping on it over
1
here.
week from now, it's going to be like, where's the styrofoam cup? Oh, shit, it's gone.
Well, that won't be my fault. I won't disappear my own styrofoam cup.
I think you will, man.
It'll be there.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be there. I love fucking styrofoam, man.
You love fucking styrofoam?
Denying...
Oh, yeah.
You have no idea.
Put a little hole in the cup and go to town.
In California, you don't even get cups like this. Cups like this are a rarity in California. You get these wax paper covered cups that literally bleed condensation constantly off the sides of them, and I think they melt ice faster than if you just put it on the desk.
But you know what, Paul? Better for the environment.
Well, see, that sucks shit though. It's like an example of
Why does
me.
the environment have to be such a fucking prick?
I know. Why is the environment so fucking needy?
I know, right? It's
Like it creates ice, but it makes it melt too
And a lot of
fast. And
places
I'm
in
ingenious
California,
enough to
too.
come up with a way to keep it from happening,
won't-
and the environment's mad at me for that.
In California, they won't even give you a straw for the most part, or if you do get one, you get a fucking little, paper straw.
Well, that's new now. I left California before you couldn't get a plastic straw there. But I will tell you, the straws are different in California. They're way thinner. Like the plastic straws you get have to conform to a certain fucking amount of thickness, and like down here you get a good. I wish I could show you, but my straw fucking disappeared.
TJ took it.
TJ, why'd you take my fucking straw?
I don't have the fucking straw, dude.
TJ fucking probably was chewing on it or something.
I don't have it.
Why did you steal my straw?
I did not.
Does he
steal
have
your
a
straw.
I
fucking
did
drink over there with
not.
a straw in it?
I have a drink. It does not have a straw.
TJ, you stole it, man.
I
Don't
didn't
lie
steal
to
it.
you. You
I
lying,
didn't steal it.
TJ. You lying.
I didn't steal it.
It's that
stole
tiny
it.
little sippy cup.
Can
you're
you prove you
drinking.
I
didn't
didn't
steal
steal
it?
it.
Can you prove you didn't steal it, TJ?
I guess not.
He was the only one that was alone in here with the straw.
I rest my case.
Me and the straw are friends.
That's
now.
strong circumstantial evidence. I might be able to get a jury to convict on that.
Me and that straw were the best of friends, dude.
Have you guys ever seen the Paradise Lost documentaries?
Yeah.
About the West Memphis Three?
Uh huh.
Yeah, so there are 3 kids back in the early 90s that were gaffled up in a triple child homicide
Yep.
because they
For
listened
Satan.
to Metallica,
yeah,
basically.
Satan, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And it took them
Hey, listen to Metallica. Guilty.
it took them over 20 years to have their verdicts overturned.
Yeah.
And to be released, but they were released in large part due to these documentaries that were made by HBO. I just rewatched them relatively recently, and it was funny to me how every one of them has like a narrative about who actually done it, and some of the people that were implicated come back in later documentaries to implicate other people that were involved. Like there's one dad in it that's real weird. He's featured heavily in the first 2 because he's like one of these dudes that wants to be a preacher. And so he goes down into the gulch where these kids were killed, and he's like, I'm going to dig the graves of these 3 murdering bastards, and he pours like fucking lighter fluid all over them, and he's like, you all burn in hell. He's down there doing all these fucking weird Christian rituals.
Whoa.
And he's like vehemently against these 3 boys that were, he believed with all his heart that they did it. And then by the final documentary, he's like one of the people trying to get him released. He's like, well, I was just swept up in the group think and all of this stuff. But one of the other things that he does is he's like, you want to know who really done it? It was this other dad of the one of the other kids what done it. And they just like do the same thing they did to him.
Oh, fuck, man.
It's pretty fucking crazy.
A new scapegoat, basically.
Allegation Central, yeah. Just like blaming everybody.
And Damien Eccles, one of the released West
He
Memphis
was the most famous of the 3.
Yeah, well, he was the most articulate and intelligent, and
the most obviously goth and
Right.
shit. He just like,
and now he sells art.
Cool.
He does like these weird demon talismans and shit.
That's nice.
Talisman of Asmodel, Talisman of Verchiel, Talisman of Zuriel, and so on and so forth. Which I think just proves once again that he is guilty, because like, what kind of normal
on,
person
yeah.
is doing all these demon sigils?
Well, I
got
got to be honest with you. It's kind of funny that he's doing this because this featured prominently in his trial. He was keenly interested in these like code ways of writing, and he actually sat down as
some
a
cryptography
Yeah.
in the background of some of these.
as a teenager, he would sit down and learn these alternate alphabets and write things in them, and that came up in his trial as proof that he was casting hexes and shit.
He's casting a damn
Which, of course,
spell,
even if he was, has nothing to do with 3 little boys being murdered. Dude, that series is crazy because it just shows you how the fucking system of justice in this country can not only fail, but literally spectacularly faceplant.
can just like hinge on like, we don't like you and your kind.
That's exactly what it was. Like the first evidence that they had that these boys were involved was they picked up one of this trio of friends that's literally functionally retarded. He has an IQ of 72.
Yeah.
And they put him in a room with a bunch of big burly mustache fucking Southern cops for 12 hours and basically fed him all the information they needed him to have. Then they turned on the fucking tape recorder and tape recorded 45 minutes of him going, oh yeah, like we tackled them boys and we screwed them. You know what I mean? And it was just never really fucking became an issue in the trial. The defense tried to make it an issue in the trial, but apparently the jury was totally persuaded that you can't brace a retarded kid into saying whatever he wants if you just say mean things to him for 12 hours.
Because it's so easy, because the narrative is, the cops probably present the narrative like this. He comes in, he doesn't want to tell the truth, and by the end of it, he's confessed to every, look, I did it all. Well, we're evil, we're bad, we're ever what you said.
One of the things that the documentary series covers is the absolutely, like, insane prevalence of false confessions.
Oh, yeah.
Police literally are experts in getting them. Like, they know how to psychologically brace a person and feed them. Like, they were caught on tape coaching the kid during the 45 minutes that they actually taped.
That's very normal, yeah.
Because at first the kid was saying, oh, yeah, we got down there with the little boys at 12 noon. Well, at 12 noon that day, they were all at school. So they were like, are you sure it was noon? Sure it wasn't later? Oh, yeah. Well, we got there at noon, but then we got the boys at like 3.
Okay.
Now, hold on. Well, 3, they still would have been on their way home from school. So they're like, well, hold on. Now, what was the sun doing? Was it going down? Yeah, it was going down. Oh, so it was around 6 o'clock or so?
Wow.
Yeah.
Just coaching him through.
Yeah, we got there at 6.
It was 6.
That's literally like on the tape.
They pushed him from 12 to 6.
And this is after they'd pushed him to admit involvement in it at all.
That's why, there's that famous video on YouTube. It's like, should you ever talk to police? And it's like, no. Talk to a lawyer. Don't ever talk to the police, because what you've just described is exactly what's going to happen to a lot of people.
And I mean, there's also examples of people that are guilty from crimes being caught by these traps and shit.
Sure.
And those are fucking, like, by the way, really fucking interesting to sit and watch.
Yeah, I know you got into some of that, like,
yeah, I'm still into
confession tape kind of shit.
It's more the interrogation side of things.
Right, the
I've loved learning about all the little psychological manipulation techniques that cops use. They all have names. There's like the ego up technique, which is when you'll hear a cop going like, look, I know you're a good guy. I look in your eyes and I can see you're a good father, and I just want to help you find, you know what I mean? They boost the ego of the subject so that they feel like they're talking to a friend. There's the fear up technique, where they start listing endlessly all the shit that's going to happen to you in the legal process, even though that's still up in the air because you haven't had a trial. Oh, you're going to be taken to this jail, and you're going to be put in a cell with somebody that's going to fuck you up, and you're going to blah, 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 blah. All this shit, just assuming guilt. There's just tons of these little manipulation techniques that the officer will use. And
the only way to avoid all that is just confess.
Yep. Dude, they'll mimic your body posture. So if you watch these interrogations,
yeah,
like if a guy's, if the guy they're interrogating is sitting like this with his chin in his hand, the fucking cop will do the same thing, because it's like a subconscious empathy thing where
it's like,
I'm with you,
right?
Yeah, he's on the same page as me.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. But it's interesting that it is successful in getting confessions out of people that have actually committed these crimes, but it's also so successful at getting just people,
I watched I've
people
seen
that admit to things that they never did.
I mean,
they
every
just
once in a while,
stop.
like the show Forensic Files that I used to watch like all the time, because I saw pretty much every episode like 3 or 4 times, because I used to use it as kind of my sleep aid, just because the guy whose voice they used.
I like that show too.
He was so calming. Even though he's talking about murders and stuff, it was like a really calming kind of voice. So you could really just kind of fall into the rhythm of it and shit. And every once in a while, like Forensic Files was pretty fucking like pro cop, pro establishment. But every once in a while, they do an episode that kind of like broke the trend. And they did a few episodes on people who like got convicted on false confessions.
Yeah, I remember there was one with
shit.
the fire. Where it's like the police pretty much set up the case where it was like, nope, the guy burned down his own house and did all this other shit and killed, and like I think someone in their family died.
Yeah, and they would just they showed how there was one where this dude was he was on a fishing boat with his friend, and I forget the exact circumstances, but basically the dude was like borderline retarded, just like the Damien Eccles friend.
Right.
And they just sat him down in a room and just for like 12 hours broke him down to the point where he confessed.
Fed him his story, basically.
And then it turned out the confession was bullshit, and then he had nothing to do with any fucking wrongdoing. It was just like he'd been manipulated psychologically into fucking confessing.
It's interesting, too, the tells that will come out of the subject of the interrogation that can be picked on that you wouldn't really think about. I was watching the interrogation of that guy, Chris... Fuck, what's his last name? He killed his whole fucking... Chris Watts, yeah. And, it's long. It's like 12-hour chunks, 2 of them, over the course of 2 days, one of which is dominated by a lie detector test. But whenever he was allowed to talk about his children, he would call them those kids.
Those kids.
Yeah, he'd be like, I want those kids back. I want those kids. You know, he would never say my children, which apparently is a strong psychological tell that he's trying to distance himself from them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You know, there's just all these little kind of peculiarities of lying that come out of humans that can be caught if you know what you're looking for. And there's a lot of cool videos where you can learn about it on YouTube. So.
You know what's really crazy, too, is like when you highlight these cases, it's like, this is a big case, and a lot of celebrities and money were put, you know, basically brought to bear, media attention to get them free. And it still took a long time. Imagine how many times these cases like this just occur and there's no big media sensation.
Yeah, well, no one decided to do a documentary on the case or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
no one cares. It just, you know, falls through the cracks.
And they actually got Chris Watts on kind of I mean, it's technically a false confession because they used another psychological technique of giving the person an out that seems less, like makes them out to be less of a bad guy, but still involves the commission of a crime.
Of course.
So towards the end of Chris Watts' interrogation, the female officer asks him, did she do something to the kids? Did your wife do something to the kids and then you flew into a rage or something? Is that what happened? And he denied it at that point, but about an hour later, that's the story he runs with.
Right.
So they still get him to admit.
They plan this out in his head where it's like,
right.
You know, you still have to confess your guilt, but you get to roll with this story that's like way more like, oh,
you're not going to be seen as a monster.
Yeah,
you know what
like
I mean?
she was hurting the child.
So she killed the kids,
and you
then
overacted.
You flew into a rage and killed her, and then you got rid of them all. That's understandable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you're still going to jail.
Right. And so they technically nailed him on a false confession. So, but I got to be honest with that. That was about as open and shut a case as ever there was.
His guilt was apparent.
He was insanely obviously guilty from the jump. So, you know, they just wanted to make sure it was open and shut by getting a confession.
I'm forgetting who that was.
That was the guy that murdered his wife and children.
He murdered his wife and 2 little girls in Colorado.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We looked at some of the footage.
He murdered his wife, then he took his kids out. I think it's like he worked in like drilling and shit, and he put the kids into like, he killed them.
He was in the oil business, so he went out to some big old oil tank and stuffed the girls in it and then buried his wife in a shallow grave nearby.
Yeah.
pretty fucking crazy.
And he had a mistress and all kinds of other shit going on. It was just yeah.
Dude, I love some of these guys that try to get away with murder that are so bad at it. Like, sometimes it'd be like a really good plan that just has like one little teeny tiny flaw that they just didn't think about. Or it'd be some crazy shit like, we match the fucking diatoms from your shoes to the ones in the pond near the body or some shit.
There's like state senator in Pennsylvania that was convicted because he hit somebody. He was driving drunk, hit this guy, killed him. He drove off, did all this shit, so the car got sold off. Like, it was a lease. He turned it in. They sold it to another place. The car had been through like several hands. The fucking state police in Pennsylvania impound the car, get it, and there's a hair fiber from the guy.
Yeah.
So it's like this guy pretty much would have got. If they hadn't found that, he just would have been like, nope, wasn't me.
But some of these dudes are like fucking retarded. Like, it's like just a litany of like red flags. Like, you know, a week earlier they took out a giant insurance policy on them.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know, 2 days after their fucking wife is dead, they move in with their mistress, and like just like tons and tons of like.
He bought 2 pairs of muck boots, size 12. Like, what boot size was found at the scene of the crime? You have like a receipt and shit. Yeah, there's just guys that just set themselves up so hard.
Oh, there was this one I remember that there was this cop that had killed a bunch of prostitutes. I think he killed a bunch of prostitutes. He might have killed his wife. It was a cop that killed some people. And he was there at the police station, and he was like so relaxed in the interrogation room because he's just like, I'm a cop. I'm going to get away with this. He had his like feet up on the table. And one of the cops is looking at the fucking shoes on his feet. He's like, wait a minute. Isn't that the fucking pattern that we found at the crime scene? Did he really wear the fucking shoes for the interrogation?
You know what, dude? I remember that now.
That he wore during the fucking crime?
I watched it with you. So the guy's like all comfortable, and he has his feet up, and the cop's like, those shoes look familiar, you know, and then they all go talk in the back and shit like, yeah, it matches. And then they get him and they match his shoes right then and there, dude.
It's probably more common than you think, because there's another interrogation of a serial killer out of Canada that was like he was a colonel in the Canadian military.
Right.
Whoa.
And they called him in for questioning on the strangling and rape of 4 women that they in the area, and he had on the day of the questioning, he submitted them for fucking testing, and they were the boots that, the footprint they found outside of the window of one of the girls had fucking dirt on them from the crime scenes and shit.
Wow. So it's just like, yep.
So
Just
a lot of these guys, like that dude walked in there feeling like he was just above reproach because he's this military guy who's, he's usually in command. So he showed up ultra casual, and they nailed his ass too. Got him to confess.
The boots. Do you remember there was this one guy that was so fucking lazy? He murdered this girl because I don't know if I think she got pregnant or something, and he didn't want the baby, and he didn't want all his life ruined or whatever, so he killed her. And, he did the most half-ass attempt to cover up a crime scene that I've ever seen. He killed her on the bed. His solution to the giant blood stain on his bed was to literally flip the mattress over.
What?
There was
That'll
blood.
do it.
Flip the mattress over.
He just flipped the mattress over, so there's a giant blood
problem
stain
solved.
on one side, but he just flips it over. They found the weapons that he used to murder her in his closet with his fingerprints all over them and her blood still on the blades.
Okay.
Her blood was on the ceiling. There was a little tiny sponge mark where he'd made a half-ass attempt to clean it and just given up.
Wow.
So there was just the laziest cover-up of a crime ever.
You'd think lazy people that were that lazy wouldn't, have the gumption to go through with a murder in the first place.
Or
but
if
fuck.
they do, just burn the house down. I don't want to clean up the evidence. Just the house caught fire.
I mean, the whole mattress stain thing, that is you don't kill somebody on a fucking mattress because you can't justify a brand new mattress either. They're going to be able to tell if you go out and replace that mattress with another mattress that's brand new.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a well-used mattress. You know what I mean? There's just too much setup. The blood stain on the bed, you're fucking done.
The dude was a retard.
You could get rid of the bed. They're going to ask, where's your fucking bed? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't know what happened to that bed. Just kind of vanished one
Get
day.
a brand new bed, they're going to know it's brand fucking new. They're
but
gonna
they
get
couldn't
you.
prove shit if you had a brand new bed. Just I got a new bed. Is that a crime?
They'll be like, yeah, you haven't slept on it at all.
Yeah,
you got the
I
bed
just
the
got
night of the death.
I just got it.
Yeah, we just got it the night of the death. You just happened to get a fucking brand new.
Yeah,
wow.
that's right.
Where's the old mattress?
I don't know.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I tossed it somewhere. I don't know.
Where did you toss
What
it?
if you buy a used mattress?
Who could say?
So you toss that mattress, it's right here in my fucking driveway. Then bam. They don't know.
See?
They don't fucking know. Checkmate, police.
Checkmate.
Yeah, you'd have to pre-plan for that shit though if you're gonna kill somebody on the bed.
Yeah, I don't think
You got to have another well-used
I think
mattress.
what happened was the girl came over, they argued, and then they fucked. And then she went to sleep, and then he decided that the best solution to this was to go grab a fucking, a giant axe or whatever the fuck he had, and just
kill her.
murder her in her sleep.
Yeah, great idea.
And it's yeah, this will
Fuck.
solve it.
I've always said,
All my problems are over
why
now.
not take someone on a fucking trip? We're on a cruise. Look at, it's a beautiful night. And then they just fall off the fucking boat.
Yeah,
you know
she
what I mean?
fell
fell off
overboard.
the boat and died.
And, before that, you'd want everyone to be like, he loved her deeply. It said these guys were they were constantly at each other's throats and they hated each other. Now she's dead. It's what if you really wanted to kill someone that badly? Wouldn't you want to at least be the outward perception to be they're deeply in love, everything's great?
That's why I'll never go on a boat again. I don't want to give anybody easy access to getting rid of me without any fucking
Speaking
evidence.
of which, Paul, I'll
No.
give you a free cruise, man.
No
free
cruise. No cruise.
Let's go cruise the river, Paul.
I don't want the cruise.
Free cruise.
It's a river cruise.
Standing right on land where my blood and body fluids have to spill somewhere. I at least want you to have to do a cleanup.
We'll get you to the river, boy.
Just dump me in the fucking
We'll get you to
ocean.
the river, boy.
We'll dump you in that Del River. You're gonna die.
Gator gonna take care of you, Paul.
You're gonna die. Yep.
What are you reading over there, TJ? You've been
Yep.
reading this entire fucking episode.
Yep.
I'm looking at box office numbers, seeing what's doing well. Frozen 2 continues to
How's
be on
Knives
top.
Out doing?
It's number 2.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go see a movie recently, and I was thinking Knives Out might be a good one to go
It's,
check.
Can you pull that up? How is Knives Out doing?
According to Box Office Mojo here, I got oh man.
Because I know Frozen 2 is probably going to make $1.5 billion or whatever.
Yeah, it's
and it's a foregone conclusion. I'm not
crazy.
going to see that. So
Well, yeah, I mean, no, fuck that. Ford versus Ferrari. If that's playing, Paul, is pretty good. I saw that one.
Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, here's Knives Out here. Yeah, it's made about $64 million domestically, $61 internationally.
So it could be
Worldwide
good.
total of $126 on a $40 million budget.
Wasn't this made by the guy that destroyed Star Wars?
Rianne Johnson.
Yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
It is.
Well, I mean,
Rianne something.
hopefully he's better now. I think it's just Ryan.
Ryan Johnson?
Well, it's spelled like Rian.
Yeah, it is. So here's the one Scotty was recommending, Ford versus Ferrari. It's in about $169 million worldwide, $97 million budget. It's a modest hit, probably.
I mean, it made money, for sure.
It did and did.
Knives Out looks good. A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Who doesn't want to see that, dude?
I kind of don't.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
I actually haven't seen the fucking acclaimed documentary on Netflix, Won't You Be My Neighbor, because I don't want to be reduced to a blubbering mess.
You will be, too.
It's a beautiful.
No, I know.
No, I watched it. You will
Dude,
be.
I got to be honest with you, man. I grew up
It's too
with
much.
Mr. Rogers. He's like a family member, like even more than a family member. He was like a mentor to little kids through the TV. Like, there's no way to explain the amount of influence he had on my young life. And I don't want to do it. Like, I'll tear up and sometimes even cry watching that fucking clip where he's at Congress arguing for the funding for PBS.
Yeah. And they play that in the movie. There's all kinds of shit where you're just like, oh my God, such a beautiful soul.
Right. He's just like that rare example of a human being that like didn't really have malice for other people and wanted to try and help people genuinely with no self-serving intent.
Yeah, I mean,
Just a rare human being.
I'll tell you what, man. It's like It's like when you play like a video game where you have like obviously the good or evil morality. And
I
it's
know
like,
what to fucking play.
And
now.
Mr. Rogers is like the pinnacle of good. I mean, really, it's like.
Is he though, or is he the pinnacle of evil?
What?
Not as
Inflated,
good,
frankly, because
it's generational.
as a result,
You with
this
Mr.
man,
Rogers.
this evil man, has
agree,
now
not
ruined
evil.
a generation of kids.
And you know what? I'm with Captain Kangaroo. He was half a generation ahead.
That explains a few things to you.
Absolutely, because these experts are saying that the kids of today who grew up with Mr. Rogers were told by him, you're special, just for being who you are.
I like you just the way you are.
Well, here's
I don't know what the fuck that was.
Okay.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with telling a little kid they're special?
Mr. Rogers
because it
mixed
created a generation of entitled people, and that's why he's an evil man.
I see.
Well, I guess you can find someone that hates Mr. Rogers even.
Look at what they have to hate.
That's kinda crazy.
They have to hate
Yeah.
a soft-spoken old man in a grandpa sweater.
Yeah, you're special.
I hate that. I hate it.
who just wanted kids to have a little more happiness in their lives.
You know what? You know why those people don't like
Evil
that?
Paul.
They probably both had a couple kids that fucking despise them. They probably like Mr. Rogers better than their own fucking parents. They're probably just butthurt and salty. Like, these stupid kids think they're special and they have a future. Fuck them. They should be mad and angry and bitter like me.
Mr. Rogers was
Fucking
evil, man.
worthless fucking-
That's the ultimate
Yeah,
hot take
what?
right there.
Mr. Rogers is evil? Come
the
on,
fuck?
dude. It's just not. Just some things just have no. They just ring so falsely, and that's just one of the statements.
Dude, I loved that Mr. Rogers like admitted his own faults too. Like he wasn't just a dude that sat there and
I'm a
preached at little
saint.
kids. He was like, sometimes I get mad too, and sometimes when I get mad, I might say something to somebody that makes them feel bad, and I regret that. And I always make it a point to apologize to them for that and to try not to. You know what I mean? He admitted he was a human being. God damn it. I can't watch that shit. I can't watch those Mr. Rogers things.
Dude, Paul doesn't want to blubber in the theater, man.
I don't.
He'll watch it. He'll watch it on VOD, dude. He'll watch it on VOD.
I won't even do that because that fucking Mr. Rogers documentary's
Dude.
been out for like
Watch it on
a
VOD.
Watch
year.
it, Paul.
Don't be
Watch
afraid,
it.
Paul.
Watch it.
Pass through the eye of the needle, Paul.
I'm not doing it.
Oh
it,
my
Paul.
God! You won't. I see. I
I've
don't
seen
get
enough.
that. I don't get that, man.
I don't want to cry. I don't want to.
So what if you cry? What's the big
I don't
deal
want to
about
be
crying?
reduced to a blubbering fucking sack of
Feelings-
shit.
Yeah, you know what,
Feelings are
Paul?
okay, Paul.
You need to feel, Paul. There's nothing wrong with having
There's
those
nothing
feelings.
wrong with feeling.
There's nothing wrong about
feelings,
being
Paul.
moved by a work of art, Paul.
Yeah, Paul. Open your heart,
He-
Paul.
It's just a reminder
He
that
fights
he's.
it so hard. That's what his problem is.
It's just
man.
a reminder that he's no longer here, and there's nobody to replace him. You know what I mean? Like a whole generation of kids don't have Mr. Rogers. Nobody's ever gonna have Mr. Rogers again. Dude,
Hey,
I
you
just
know
want
what?
I can't face it.
You gotta face it, man. He's gone, Paul.
Them's the facts.
It sucks that he's gone. It sucks there's no one to replace him. But
We
hey,
can do that for a Cinema versus Cynics one of these times. We'll just watch that documentary and just let me blubber my way through it. I will too. I can almost fucking guarantee.
I would. You know what? In all fairness to you, we all might be like, oh well, it's on my eye.
We won't even be able to make
No.
fun of you because we'll be crying too. Or I will anyway. I don't know about Scotty.
I think you guys will both be guffawing at me for
shed
having a
I'll shed
genuine display
single,
of emotion.
I'll shed a single tear, Paul.
Scotty will shed one solitary tear.
Oh, sorry, something was my eye. I'm good.
Anyway, that's probably good enough for a pre-post show.
Sweet.
And we're going to turn in and do the real show now.
Fuck you, TJ.
Bye.